Hey guys, it's Morgan coming to you with another video. This one is about Rekluse clutches, and it's not so much about how to install one, although we will do that too in a later video, but this one's more about what exactly is a Rekluse auto clutch. I know a lot of you guys already know what they are, you know how they work, all that stuff, but there's a ton of motorcycle guys out there who have just heard about it and they just say, oh, Rekluse, 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 and people tell them they got to put one in. And anyway, we've done tons of discussions on whether or not you should or should not use one, why you should use one, all that stuff. But today we are here just to talk about exactly what it is and how it works. We got a brand new one here to install on this KX100 for Dad who's putting it on for his son for Christmas. Let's start with what exactly a motorcycle clutch is and does. Because honestly, I know lots of people out there who ride these things and they really don't even know what a clutch does. I know people who grew up driving standard transmission cars and they don't really know exactly what a clutch does. So let's start by taking this thing apart and we're going to take a look at exactly what a clutch does, and then we'll talk about the Rekluse. Okay, so a clutch. What exactly is a clutch, right? The way I like to think about a clutch is it is the connection between your engine and your transmission. Now on a car, like a vehicle, truck, whatever like that, you got an engine that's up front and then you got a transmission that's separate. In between them is the clutch that binds them together, right? On a motorcycle, they're all in the same kind of package, unless you're dealing with a Harley and anyway. But on a normal motorcycle, especially dirt bikes, the clutch is in the motor with the engine. But the engine is actually the piston crankshaft doing its thing, making power. And then you have the transmission, which transmits that power to the rear wheel. And the clutch is the thing that brings them together. This is the clutch on a KX100. It works a little bit differently than most clutches because it actually pulls this out instead of pushing it from the other side. So if you have a KTM or a Yamaha or a bigger bike, anyway, there's other options, whatever. Most other bikes, they actually push this pressure plate out. But the way it works is you've got, this is called the pressure plate right here. This is the throw out, and on this thing, like I said, it pulls. This right here is the outer basket, they call it, and inside here is the hub. And let's take a look. I'm gonna take this pressure plate out, but understand that this pressure plate's job is to push in and squeeze these plates together. So I'm gonna take this off so you can see a little bit better what's going on. So another little quick explanation that on a bike without an auto clutch, the clutch is normally engaged, okay? It's normally engaged. When you don't have the lever pulled, the clutch is normally engaged, which means that the transmission is hooked to the motor. So under normal conditions, like you let go of the clutch is engaged, the transmission is hooked to the engine. Now, if you're in neutral, obviously it's not going to move forward, but if you're not in neutral, that's why if you let the clutch out without giving any gas, it stalls because the tranny is hooked to the motor. So then we pull this out, pressure plate, and the pressure plate is what does the engaging, right? You saw the springs that I pulled out, they push the pressure plate in there. So now let's take a look. We have this outer basket out here, and that holds the drive plates, these guys. And then we have this inner hub, which is what this is called. That is connected to the driven plates. And those are the steels, okay? The back side of this basket on the outside has a gear, and that gear touches the end of the crankshaft, and is when this motor is turning, this basket is always turning no matter what. This hub is attached directly to the main shaft of the transmission, which then transmits its power to the counter shaft, which is the shaft that has a sprocket on it that goes to the rear wheel. So what happens in a normal clutch, fire the motor up, it's in neutral, like the lever is out, so the clutch is engaged, it's pushing in, and it is now connected. The basket to the hub with these drive plates to those driven plates, right? And then so it's all turning all at once. Then when you pull the clutch lever in, it pushes the pressure plate out and allows these plates to slip past each other. So they slip like this, allowing the motor to be independent of the transmission. Then you click it into gear, and when you let the clutch out, it applies pressure on the pressure plate to these plates, pushes in, engages the clutch, and connects the motor to the transmission and drives you forward. Okay, so that's how a normal clutch works. Let's talk about Rekluses. So Rekluse is what they call an auto clutch, and Rekluse is just the name of the company who makes the auto clutch. There used to be other companies that made auto clutches out there. There was Revlock. That might be it. I don't know. There's probably someone else out there at some point. But anyway, Rekluse is completely taken over the market. They're the only ones that do it really anymore. So this is a Core EXP. There are different levels of Rekluse that you can buy. There's a EXP 3.0, Core EXP, Radius X, Radius. Anyway, I'm not going to go into what all those are. They all work on the same basic principle. They all use the same, the complicated part, if it's not even really very complicated, but the engineering part that does the work is the same in all of them. It's just the parts around it are what change. There have been lots of iterations of Rekluses. They've used lots of different things. This is the newest, baddest, and the best in my opinion by a long ways. I'm not going to go into all the old styles that there were because they're all gone now, and the heck with them. But they actually worked on the same principle too. So with the Core EXP, you're getting a clutch cover, which is awfully cool. New pressure plate, new lining plate, new inner hub, all sorts of things, right? It's all billets, really nice. Like the parts that come with a Rekluse are really, really, really nice. I mean, anyway, they're very, very well built, well machined, all made in the United States. This is not an ad for Rekluse. Rekluse didn't pay me to do this, but their parts are like super, super nice. But the part that is the important part to this whole situation is this. It's the EXP, or expanding ring. This is the thing that makes it an auto clutch. So first of all, let's talk about the difference between when you're running an auto clutch and not an auto clutch. As I said before, when you've got just a normal clutch, it's normally engaged. When the lever's out, it's normally engaged. When you install an auto clutch, it's normally disengaged now. So even though the lever's out, it's normally disengaged, meaning that the pressure plate has come out and is letting the discs slip and letting the motor be separate from the transmission. So that's the big difference, right? That's why it doesn't stall. So if you clutch lever out, stab the rear brake, it just sits there and idles because it's normally disengaged the clutch. And the way it does that is with this. The way it's normally disengaged is actually the pressure plate is just normally pushed out. But the way it works is you've got this expanding ring sits in there, and it takes up the space of the fiber plates, the drive plates that you saw, the part that's attached to the engine. So this drops in place of one of those. And it's thick, and you know you have to get rid of some. Anyway, whatever. But this goes onto that. So this is attached to the engine basically through the basket, and you can see under right now it's a certain thickness, right? But then as the motor spins, as the RPMs come up, and because this is always attached to the engine and always spinning no matter what, because it's attached to the basket, it's completely dependent on the RPMs and motor. But as the motor spins, this wedge comes out, and you can see that these two plates spread apart. So I'm going to do that again. See how they get wider? And that comes out. So as the RPMs come out, this goes out. When you've got it installed correctly, it's out just a little bit, because, and that's an exaggeration, it's not even that much, but it's out, allowing the clutch plates to slip. Then as the RPMs come up and this comes out, these two things spread apart and they take up that gap in between the pressure plate and the rest of the stack and engage the clutch. So that's how these things work, and they're really cool. Let me show you how this is actually set up. Got these little guys. just going to take them out. Okay. This is the part you're actually paying big money for. All the rest of this could be machined for a whole lot less. I mean, it's really high-end stuff and it's expensive, but it could be machined for a lot less than what you're paying for a Rekluse. This is the part that does the heavy lifting. It's really hard to see on here, but these little divots and these little divots are ramps that these rollers and these rollers ride on. And when these swing out, it comes up on the ramp, spreading these apart. This is a 3.0 for the KX100, but honestly, on the newer ones for the big bikes, these rollers are gone and there's little Teflon pads, and they last longer because of that. Anyway, that's how that works. It's pretty cool. Like I said, these little guys just swing out, and when they swing out, they come up on the ramp and spread these things apart. There you go. That's how it works. There's a lot that goes on installing. It's not that hard, and honestly, the instructions that the Rekluse comes with are really, really, really good. I will do a video on installing one. That's basically how it works. I hope that's informative. A clutch is the thing that connects the motor to the transmission on your dirt bike and anything else that has a clutch. I hope that helps you guys understand what an auto clutch does and what Rekluses do. By the way, this video, let's not have this video be about whether or not you should or should not use Rekluses, so leave the comments out about how you feel about Rekluse auto clutches. We can talk all about that in another video. We can go on and on and on about that in a different video. But in this video, it's just about how they work and what they do. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. Like I said, I really hope you like that. I hope you like all that we're doing. If you do, would love a subscribe from you. Also, get that notification bell clicked, because that way you'll know when we do all our new videos. I hope you get out, spread the gospel of two wheels, and I really, really hope you get out and ride your dirt bikes!